There is a specific type of panic that wakes you up in the middle of the night. It's not just the sweating or the racing of your heart as the alcohol is leaving your system. It's that sudden feeling when you realize that bills are coming due and you don't have the money to pay them. You don't know if you should check your bank account to see how much money is in there. And you're not going to know if you can face the day without a drink. I was trying to get sober while I was watching my financial world and the world around me crumble. And I can tell you the first month it was the hardest thing I ever did. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Sonia, and I'm sharing my story of starting over later in life. So let's talk about the first week. I can tell you that I was not prepared for the physical and the emotional toll. For the first week or so, as that alcohol leaves your system, you are exhausted. I remember how tired I was, but yet I was still having trouble sleeping. You're trying to deal with the emotions and everything of every day, and you just want to drink to take those feelings away and to numb the stress and everything that you are dealing with. That's what you've done for quite some time. In those first few days, the brain fog is going to be heavy. And that craving that you feel is not just for the alcohol, it's for the relief, numb those feelings of stress and anxiety. And you think, if I could just have a glass of wine, if I could have that drink, I could just stop thinking about it for a while. But I had to realize something in the first week, that the alcohol that I was drinking was not fixing the money. It was putting an expensive blindfold so I wouldn't think about it. By the second week, I remember the physical symptoms started to get a lot better, but the emotional roller coaster is still there. But getting sober, I had to realize that I had to wake up. I started to have to face things. I did a lot of crying at the beginning. I sought help. I met with some groups of sober people, some ladies that really helped me through it. I remember I cried a lot over the first few weeks. You're just getting those feelings out, and you're not crying because you're sober. The crying is different. The crying is grief, I think. The grief of the feelings that you numbed for so many years. You're letting all that out, all those feelings and all those emotions that you numbed for all that time. It's a lot to deal with, but that's something you just have to go through. So what did I do to survive that first month of being sober? I took it a day at a time, as they say. You can't fix your whole life in, a couple of weeks. You have to do it over time. There's a lot that you have to deal with, and one day at a time is the way to do it. There was a time that I did have to protect my peace in order to stay sober. So for those first 30 days, my sobriety had to come first. Those bills that were waiting for me to pay could wait, but if I continued drinking, I would lose everything. I remember those first 30 days that I would wake up. I finally started to sleep really well, but I would wake up in the middle of the night, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and think, okay, am I hungover? Did I drink last night? And it took a while to stop feeling that way because, I felt that way for such a long time. So after that month or so, what I did was started to face the finances and started to deal with things. I had to write everything down. I had to see it in front of me to see what the issues were and to see how I could start to fix it. As I said, it was messy. It wasn't the perfect plan that I had. I started to sell things around my house, things that I had bought over the years that weren't really important and I didn't use. Home goods and things that I had. I just started to sell things. There was a period of time that I would buy used furniture. Good used furniture on Marketplace that was, fairly cheap. I would bring it home and I would put it in my garage, and I learned how to paint that furniture and resell it. And for that period of time, that brought extra money in. I did what I could to get the bills paid off, and I took money out of my 401k. Probably not the best idea, the best thing to do, but I did what I had to get things paid off and to get things taken care of and to get myself out of debt. And eventually I learned that I could be in this world without spending money. That period of time where I realized that eating out a few days a week, taking my son out, or ordering DoorDash was not the best idea. I started to realize that spending money on certain things and home goods and going to Hobby Lobby and things like that were not important. It was more important for me to pay my debt and to be debt free. I eventually sold my house, which I had planned to do anyway, but I got some money out of that and I was able to pay the remaining of my debt off. I have since moved into an apartment where I'm paying a nice little rent and continuing to save money so I can eventually buy that little house in the country to live a simple and peaceful life. That's all I want. I am not a financial guru. I am not here to give you any kind of financial advice or to tell you how to invest your money. But I can tell you that stripping your life down to the absolute basics is the only way to clear the noise. I realized that my sobriety was the greatest asset that I had left. And it was the main thing that was going to help me dig myself out of this mess. And if you are in the thick of it right now, if you do not know what you're going to do, you are looking at those numbers and you are feeling shame, just know that you are not alone and it does get better. You can rebuild, but you have to have a clear head to do it. I am here to build a community and share with you how I rebuild my life and grow my business online, and I hope that you can come along in this journey, and I'll see you next time.